What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another fun-filled video from Knotty Pine Life. This one's going to be a mechanically inclined video, specifically on replacing a EGR valve. This particular vehicle I'm working on is a 2010 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT. This has the 3.8 liter V6, and what led me to replacing the EGR, which I'm going to show you how to do and what you need to do, was my check engine light came on. And once I saw that, I hooked up my OBD-II card diagnostic scan tool, and sure enough it came back with a code, and that code was P0404. And basically what that is it's a generic code that the ECM, also known as your engine control module, detected the EGR valve is out of specs range. So basically your EGR valve is bad 9 out of 10 times, if not more. Now some guys will go ahead and post a video showing you, oh, here's how you fix your EGR valve, and they grab a hammer and start whacking on it. And maybe that works for a day, maybe that works for a week, but it's not a long-term fix, and I'm not into the breaking down on the road. So I went ahead and just ordered the part. I actually found an EGR valve for this model vehicle online for around $46 and tax. Went ahead and got that and installed it. So some of the symptoms of a P0404 or the EGR valve being bad is, like I mentioned, your check engine light will come on. For sure it'll come on. Your engine, it might have pre-ignition on acceleration, and the EGR can also cause your car to run rough, hesitate, or sometimes even stall. So with that being said, I'll show you exactly where the EGR is located, and that is this guy right here. That bright shiny guy right there, that's your EGR valve. That's the connector up top, and that's where it connects right there. This connector is a plug and play connector. So that's obviously, like I said, the new one. I'll go ahead and show you what the old one looks like and what comes with your new one. So here we have the old EGR valve. Your new EGR valve is going to come with 2 gaskets. This gasket here bolts right to the engine block using these 2 bolts right here. Okay, these are both 10mm bolts, these 2. Now remember, this long one is the one that goes on top. It's critical you remember that. Obviously the gasket would go in first. The short one goes in on the bottom, obviously. And then on the back side, you can actually see here the old gasket is actually meshed with the old EGR valve, so it's stuck here. So here's the old one. I just pulled it off, and you can see part of the gasket is still stuck there. So your new one will come with, obviously, your new EGR valve with your connector that I was showing you earlier. the 2 gaskets, the 2 10mm bolts, and then these 2 bolts here are 8mm, and they go on the back side. This back side where this gasket was, they go on the back there. Those 2 8mm bolts. And these connect the gas exhaust tube. It's a metal tube that runs out the top of the engine, and I'll show you that right now. So right here is that metal tube I was referring to. That runs down, 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 and back to the back here, and then it actually connects to the back of the EGR valve, which is again right here. Now this job is a pain, all right? I'm going to tell you that ahead of time. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need a shop light. Obviously, you're going to need good lighting. I've got a light on right now. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers. Why do you need those? To pull off this clip on top of the valve, okay? You need to pull that clip out, that red clip out, in order to disconnect it. You're going to need this brush to clean off all the residue on this metal gasket, which is permanent. This pipe has one gasket here and one gasket on the back side that connects to the EGR that are both permanent. You're gonna have to clean both of those off really good. Use carb cleaner, and also clean off this tube, because this tube, when you unbolt this, it's gonna have a tremendous amount of buildup on it of you know, from the gas exhaust. It just builds up and it's a black, and I took a little pick and I was just picking at it and spraying carb cleaner on it, and then I got it as clean as I could. So we got those 2 items out of the way. You're going to need obviously a 10mm open wrench, box wrench, an 8mm as well. You're going to need an 8mm or a 10mm socket, an 8mm socket, 8 and 10mm ratcheting wrenches, and then you're going to need a selection of ratchets, one of which definitely needs to have a swivel on it. And if you've got another swivel, that's even better if you have 2 swivels, because you'll need it. So these 2 bolts there are both 8mm. This stud here and this nut, you'll have to loosen that off. That's a 1/2 inch. So you're needing a 1/2 inch socket for that. And then to loosen up the tube from the back of the EGR, like I said before, that's an 8mm job, and you cannot even see those 2 bolts. You cannot even see the head of those 2 nuts back there. So the first thing I did is I disconnected this breather hose from up here. I tucked that out of the way, and then you disconnect these 3 spark plug wires. They're actually numbered, so the wires themselves are numbered 315, and then they're also numbered here 513, so you don't have to worry about getting that mixed up. You move all that out of the way, and then you start working. You can either start right there and take that top those top 2 screws out, and then the 1/2 inch, and then come over to the side and start working on your 2 10mm which you can see down in there. You can see one of them right there. This job in total took me an hour and a half to do. Also, when you reconnect your connector, make sure you put that red tab back in so that it doesn't come disconnected on you. It's really not that hard. Slide it in as far as you can by hand and then just tap it in with your needle nose pliers or something like that, whatever works. So, I kind of got ahead of myself too. The very first thing you need to do is disconnect your negative terminal, and that's a 10 millimeter nut right there. Make sure you do that before you do anything else. Let me see, what am I forgetting here? I don't want to make this longer than it has to be. So basically, you don't want to put this job off for a number of reasons. Don't hit it with a hammer, just do it, replace it, do it yourself. It's not, this is the first time I replaced it, I did it myself. If I can do it, you can do it. Like I said, the EGR is right there, I'm pointing right at it. It's hard to see, but you can see the slot on it. Now there's two bolts on the back that connect that breather hose. Like I said, it's all going to be by feel, and those are your 8 millimeters on the back. The 10 millimeters are on the side. But replace your EGR valve, guys. It's really important. Basically, what does it do? It recirculates really small amounts of finely measured quantities of the exhaust that your vehicle creates, and it recirculates it back to the engine intake system, so you get increased engine efficiency, you reduce your fuel consumption, and you lower your NOx emissions. And if you live in a state with emissions testing, if your EGR valve is faulty or bad, you're not going to pass. So I happen to live in Wisconsin. We don't have emissions testing, so technically I didn't need to do this, but I wanted to do it just for the benefit of the vehicle. You know, it's better on my wallet. It's going to get better gas mileage. It's going to use less gas, and it's also not going to leave us stranded on the highway, which is something that is quite possible with an EGR valve being faulty. So with that being said, I think I'm gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully it was helpful, hopefully it was useful. I'm more than willing, more than happy to answer any questions you might have if you're doing this job. Like I said, I was doing it, it was late at night. I was out here with the shop light on. It was a one-man job. I did it myself, and once I got everything reinstalled, I reconnected the negative battery terminal, and I took it for a drive and drove it for about 10 minutes. The code never came back on. The check engine light, never came back on, and yeah, she seems good to go. So any questions, comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you're a new viewer, please consider subscribing. If you have any advice, any tips for anybody else that might be doing this job, please feel free to leave them in the comments as well. As always, I appreciate you taking your time to watch our video and our channel. We love each and every one of you and appreciate the support. Thank you and take care. From Wisconsin, we'll see you later.